Hello, my name is Thompson-Duwe. I'm the Managing Director of Amplicon, a South African content and communications agency. A large part of my work is what is termed influencer engagement, which is the topic I will be speaking on today, specifically how it relates to the South African rural market. Before going any further, I need to thank my wonderful colleagues, researcher Leslie Schroeder and City of Cape Town Marketing Manager Themba Ngada for their input on the topic. One of the beauties of South Africa is its diversity, and also one of its challenges. South Africa is a nation of over 51 million people of varying origins, cultures, religious beliefs, and of course languages. There are 11 official languages, most of them indigenous to South Africa, with numerous other dialects in the more rural regions. As such, communicating to this vast nation is a challenge. There is no such thing as a blanket one-message communications campaign, and this is to do with far more than just language. The various cultures have differing beliefs and traditions, so what works for one could be unsuccessful or downright insulting to another. For example, in Western culture, it is considered manners for a man to allow a woman to walk into a room first. In African culture, the man goes first. Culture is an important aspect of structuring and executing an influencer campaign in South Africa and other parts of Africa. Influencer campaigns in city and urban areas will bear a strong resemblance to influencer campaigns in cities around the world. What I want to focus on is influencer campaigns in rural areas. Far from the main markets, geographically dispersed, and with limited access to technology and transport, influencing rural communities is a challenge, but one that must be overcome if government, non-profit organisation, and brand messages are to be communicated. As with other influencer campaigns, celebrities are a good place to start. However, with respect to the hit song of the 1980s, video has not yet killed the radio star. With radios as the primary source of news and information, radio DJs and presenters are major attractions and draw huge crowds, many of whom will walk long distances to see their favourite DJ. Sports stars are also good bets and often attract much larger crowds than other celebrities. But the real influencers in tribal and rural societies in South Africa are not the celebrities. Tribal leaders retain significant influence in rural communities, and any organisation needs to get the buy-in from the local tribal leader before embarking on a project or campaign. And tribal structures can be complex, with supreme chiefs overseeing numerous villages, each with a local chief. These chiefs form tribal councils that wield vast power and influence over traditional matters, land ownership, driving government programs, etc. So before you even select an influencer for a campaign, you need to make sure that the ultimate influences of tribal life sanction your efforts. To successfully navigate the tribal structures and gain the trust of the rural leadership, companies should use teams with a deep knowledge of local customs and the idiomatic understanding of the local language. Another key influencer, and one that often overlaps with the tribal leadership, are business people who have left the rural areas for their city. These newly minted city folk retain strong ties with the rural community. They often return at least once a year to visit, and more often for weddings and funerals. They bring new products and fashions from the city and introduce them in their local village. City people who can afford to come home are admired as being successful and trendy, so they are influencers. This is an important lesson. Although the rural areas may be removed from the day-to-day life of the city through distance and limited technology, the predictable and recurring movement of people between the city and the villages creates a networked bond between the two. A colleague of mine shared the following example with me about the importance of business people as influencers in rural villages. They wanted to promote new flight services from a small regional airport. Rural people in the region were reluctant to try flying, so they found influencers who work in the big cities but come home regularly for weekends and holidays. For them, flying is the logical choice because it is so much quicker and easier. Once local rural people saw their city brothers and sisters flying, it was aspirational and influential, and we gradually began to get more take-up from rural business people living in the region. The final point that I want to make about influencer campaigns is that once you get the influencer to the rural villages, social media platforms and television interviews are going to give way to street theatre, gatherings in dusty kraals, or at meetings in local churches. Influencer campaigns in rural areas are a lot more complex and time-consuming than many companies are prepared for. Some brands may walk away, but for others that need or want to have a presence in the rural communities, What I have discussed is essential for the success of their campaigns. If you have any questions, please reach me on kate@amplicongroup.co. Thank you.